Sex is how your husband feels loved and respected. Your husband is not a woman. He is a man. And sex is incredibly important to a man. And it's where we miss each other and just go totally different ways as husband and wives. That if you ask him, a good man, what are the top 3 things that are most important to him in a marriage and in a relationship? Sex is going to be number 1, if not number 1, 2, or 3. If you ask a woman, you could ask a woman, what are your top 10 most important things to you in a marriage or a relationship? Sex might not even make the list. It might be like number 8, 9, or 10, maybe. So we have to understand it as women that sex is incredibly important to men. And we know that.
Hey guys, it's your girl Melanie, and I came across this channel called The Happy Wife School. And in this video is why men need sex. And, I find it so funny today with women is that they will be over sexualized when dating. They will give sex to Chad and Tyrone indiscriminately, with the idea that if I give him sex, that he will want to wife me up. And a lot of times, even if Chadrone decided to wife you up, at the end of the day, once you're in that relationship, the sexual desire for that man drops off significantly. Why? Because women use it as a weapon. They use it as a bait to catch and to hook a man. And once they've hooked him, they don't feel like they need to do that anymore. They feel like, I already got him. I can just relax now. It's not a priority. He loves me. So, our love will conquer all. And the reality is that is not true. Or the other side of the coin is that she becomes less sexually attracted to him because maybe she got that man because she wanted to secure a husband, but he's not a Chadrone. And so she doesn't feel, that sexual desire isn't there. What a lot of times drives a woman to have sex with a man, with a potential partner, is that so that she can secure a relationship. Women will use sex, or they think they can use sex to secure a relationship. And that once they're in that union, it's no longer necessary. I don't have to do those same things anymore with that man to keep him happy or to get him. I've already got him hooked with a ring and children. So now it's his job to focus on making me happy. And if I'm in the mood, then yeah. But if I'm not in the mood, then he should understand. It should be no big deal. See, they expect men to continue their roles in the marriage, but when it's time for them to fulfill their roles and give in to the man and what makes him happy, well, it's misogynistic. I'm tired. I don't feel like doing that. But what if he felt like that with going to work, with providing for the household? I don't feel like it now. I've gotten you. I don't need to work as hard. I don't need to provide anything. We're already there.
Why we use sex as a weapon, and we use sex to manipulate and control. And we all know how we do that and have done that. And what happens is that we begin to treat our husbands like Neanderthals, and that there's something wrong with them, that sex is so important to them. And we want to change them and make them so wrong for just who they are as a man. But you have to understand, when you chose to get married and you made vows and you made a commitment to your husband, you took on the role and responsibility to have sex in your marriage and enjoy it as a part of a healthy relationship. Women need to understand, and this was, well, let me finish that thought. Women need to understand that sex is not an option, and it is not something that is inconsequential. Sex is part of a healthy relationship and marriage. And this is one of the things I've been reflecting on, because when my husband and I got engaged, I had already started withdrawing and putting a wall up around sex when in the beginning of our relationship and dating and leading up to us getting married, we had a very healthy, enjoyable sex life. And then I threw my walls up, and that's very, very common for us as women. And it was a really, really big challenge in even just my early 30s, which is so sad to me now. And I had to learn an important part of my healing in my marriage, and through this decade of my 30s. In the beginning was overcoming the walls I had built around sex in my marriage, and recognizing that I couldn't have sex with my husband as a duty or a chore or an obligation. When we have sex from a place of obligation or as a chore, we feel used, we feel resentful if we're doing what we're supposed to do. That's actually a wonderful example of being nice is doing sex to check the box and say done. Maybe I bought myself a week or two and then shutting down. That's
And I find it interesting that women, it's like, do they just not enjoy the sex with their husband? Is it that they have so many other obligations within marriage, whether it's children, family, bills? You have the different issues within your marriage. And so a woman feels less attracted to that man because of the familiarity. And it's amazing to me that women will rack up all of these bodies and the body count when they're out in the street and dating. And I think it's because they're not familiar with the man. It's easier to have sex with a stranger. It's easier to have sex with the unknown. And the more they get to know that man, the more they see that he's a human being and not just a tool to be used for resources and fulfill their desires. And once they realize marriage is not about being princess treatment, but there's responsibilities and accountability when it comes to that they lose it. It get the ick. Women prefer the fantasy. They prefer the fantasy of a Chad Roan, the fantasy of sex. It's wild, it's passionate, it's unique. But then I also think there's this performance adrenaline that women get, this rush of excitement, this danger of the unknown. And this is why women like the bad boy. Anything that's stable, has consistency, is familiar, is like, ugh, I need something new. But I think it inherently relates back to women's hypergamy, where women are always looking for something more. Women are never just content within any relationship. They always need something new. And this is why the dangers of marrying a woman, I'm not saying her at all. I'm just speaking in general, because I think this woman is teaching and I have no issues with her. But I'm saying in general, I think the issue is that women, it's like they do not understand men fundamentally. The only thing they understand about men or what men want is sex, that like when they're dating. But then it's just not, it's like they friend zone their husband. I think that's what it is. And I have never seen this clip, but what comes to mind is he gets friend zoned. How many men are living in a marriage where they're in the friend zone? They're doing everything for their wife, for their family, but that's not considered hot. That's not considered sexy. Treating a woman bad, ghosting her, putting her in rotation, hopping from person to person, not giving her princess treatment, actually keeps a woman hooked. It's an adrenaline rush to get a man who's non-committal, a man that's unfamiliar, to just want her. But once she gets him, it's just like the thrill is gone. Why do I need to perform and do all this extra? It's his job, again, to keep me happy, to keep me satisfied in these different areas of life. And even if a man is, they don't see it why they have to keep performing for him. They don't see it as their duty, and they lose the attraction. And it's amazing to me that this happens, but men still desire their wives. And this is why I think men are more faithful. Yes, men are visual creatures, and it's they are, the old trope that men cheat more and all these other things, which we know is a lie. But when you look at how men actually behave in marriage, still desiring their wives, still wanting sex, but women not wanting their husband. And it's because men are happy and content with what they have. a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, is worth more than two in the bush. But the unknown, that mystery, that hypergamy kicks in. And I really believe it relates to that.
Not okay in a marriage. That's a cruel, cruel way to treat your husband, who is a man in which this is very important to him. So ladies, let me make it very, very clear. You cannot have a healthy marriage. You cannot have a healthy relationship if you are not having sex with your husband, or you are shut down to sex and doing it as an obligation and a chore. It's not okay. And you can't have a healthy relationship or a healthy marriage from that place. We all know sex is part of a healthy relationship. And here's something that is very important, ladies. We all enjoy sex. If you remember when you met your husband, or before you met your husband and you were dating and having different relationships with men, we couldn't wait. We couldn't wait to get together and meet up for a date and know where that was going to lead. And we can reflect back to the beginning of our relationship, before we got engaged, before we got married, and we were in the newness. We loved and enjoy having sex. We begin to put our walls up, and I'm not going to get too much into that, but I do want you all to know, trigger warning, we're going to be talking, or I'm going to be talking a lot more about our relationship with sex as women and the importance of it in a marriage, and how to overcome the walls that we have built around it, and how to overcome the withholding of sex that we have put into place in our marriage. And I'm also going to be talking about how everything we've been taught by the experts about sex is wrong, that we are not ovens that need to be warmed up first. That's another video for another time, but it's really, really important. We have been fed so many lies and so many myths and so much misinformation about sex as women. And I'm excited to share my journey, because it's been a huge journey and wonderful journey in my marriage. One of the things I'm most proud of, and my husband is most appreciative of, that I have healed and overcome in myself. And I'm excited to be sharing that. So we're going to be talking more about that on the channel. But that's the number 2 thing your husband really wish you knew, that sex is how he feels loved and respected, and that it's not an option in marriage, that when we made those vows, that's the commitment we made. It's part of a healthy relationship. And when, as women, we can reconnect with the fact that we enjoy sex too, then it's something we do for ourselves and enjoy for ourselves, that we get the benefit of it and our husbands get the benefit of it. But a key piece is we really do have to remember that we enjoy it, and not have sex for our husbands as something to check off the list just because it's important to them. They can feel that. We have to learn to be there and be engaged and enjoy it for ourselves, which is all our husbands want. And then we don't have the resentment or feeling used or feeling that that's all we're good for, or that's what we're supposed to do. We can be in it for ourselves, and our husbands get the benefit, and you can have a healthy sex life in your marriage, which is a key important piece to being a good wife.
And I get it. She's talking about healing in a soft way, and really, like, you don't feel used, you don't feel this and that. I just, I want to skip all that. It's pure selfishness. It's pure delusion. And I would say a touch of narcissism to think that you're supposed to get all the benefits of marriage, and that that your husband doesn't count, that your spouse doesn't count, that your man doesn't count, that what he wants is it's not important. But we know feminism in this society teaches that only women's desires are worthy. Only women's desires are good and noble and true. And their truth is how the world should run. How a relationship should be run is based on how that woman feels. And we can kumbaya our way into, wanting to discuss these things. But a lot of women need a slap in the face, a wake up call. They're just plain out trifling. They will give away sex and pair bond with, double-digit, triple-digit men when they're out in the dating market, but when they finally get into a relationship, to a man who they give commitment to, with a man who gives them commitment, finally, they turn it all off. And I think it's the 304 mindset of just wanting the new, the hypergamy mindset. And this is why it's important that men do not wife up these women from the streets. When a woman has a sexual past that is riddled with all of these bodies and freely giving it out, they didn't require the men they slept with before to give them commitment or to give them a ring. But now that you have done that, it's like you get punished for it. And women wonder why men are walking away from marriage, why men do not want to get married, why they see no benefit from it. Men get their best sex while they're single from you. While you're just dating and before you get that ring, men get their best sex. So no wonder men are delaying marrying you. They know, like, men are logical. They're not going to go just based on emotions. They know emotionally you want to get married. You want that commitment, but they have to weigh the cost benefits, and they're hearing from their married friends and brothers. And it's the information out there that, how sex changes in a marriage, and they don't see any benefit to it. So a lot of these married women that have been in the street before, they lack the desire from their husband because it feels better. Again, the thrill of the bad boy, the thrill of the chase. Women want to chase a man. They say that women are the prize, but actually men are, because women are the ones chasing a man with sex. If a man is chasing a woman a man may chase a woman to get sex from her, but not commitment. Any man who's trying to chase a woman to get commitment from her, they're seen as a simp, a simpleton. But I thought that was an important discussion. You guys, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this, or you have any insights on it. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.
Welcome to a place of family, faith, finance, and relationships. Welcome to another episode of The Family by You. The emphasis is on you.
Greetings and welcome to this edition of Family by You. My name is Colin.